In January 2026, European Space Agency satellites recorded something that shouldn't exist. Thermal signatures emerging from the Antarctic ice in a perfect geometric pattern. Structures with 90-degree angles, pyramids over 300 meters high, and something pulsing beneath the white mantle, as if it were awakening. Antarctica is melting. Not slowly, as scientists predicted, but at an alarming rate that defies all climate models. Ice blocks the size of entire countries are breaking off. And beneath this white shroud that has covered the continent for over 12,000 years, something is being revealed. Something that shouldn't be there. Something that rewrites everything we thought we knew about our history. This isn't just another documentary about climate change. We are investigating physical evidence, impossible maps, gravitational anomalies, and ancient texts that converge on a disturbing conclusion. Antarctica is not a frozen desert. It is a frozen archive, a cosmic crime scene preserved under miles of ice. And now that archive is being opened. In 1513, an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis compiled a world map using ancient sources, some dating back to the time of Alexander the Great. When this map was rediscovered in 1929 at Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, cartographers were stunned. The map showed the coastline of Antarctica. Not the current coastline, covered by ice, but the actual coastline of the continent, with mountains, rivers, and bays that were only mapped by ground-penetrating radar in the 1960s. The accuracy is impossible. The map shows Antarctica as it was before the last ice age, when it was still green and habitable. But according to official geology, this continent has been covered with ice for at least 12,000 years. How did a 16th century admiral possess a map of a continent that no one had officially discovered? And more importantly, who mapped Antarctica when it was still ice-free? Piri Reis claimed that he used source maps from much earlier civilizations. Maps that, according to him, came from pre-flood navigators. Civilizations that existed before the great cataclysm that covered the world with water and ice. In 2006, a team of scientists identified something extraordinary under the ice of East Antarctica, in the region known as Wilkes Land. Using gravitational and magnetic data from NASA satellites, they detected a massive anomaly. An object buried under 1.5 kilometers of ice, approximately 300 kilometers in diameter. The concentrated mass is so large that it causes measurable distortions in Earth's gravitational field. The official hypothesis? An asteroid impact crater. But there are problems with this explanation. The anomaly emits magnetic readings inconsistent with natural rock formations. The pattern suggests a high concentration of metals, iron, nickel, materials that form artificial alloys. Some researchers have dubbed this structure the Wilkes Land object. And there is something else that is disturbing. Recent thermal analyses show that the temperature at the epicenter of the anomaly is significantly higher than the surrounding environment, as if something under that ice were generating heat, as if it were active. Between 2016 and 2024, several space programs captured radar images of anomalous structures in Antarctica. Perfectly symmetrical pyramidal shapes emerging from glaciers, straight lines extending for miles under the ice. Formations that violate all principles of natural erosion. One of these structures, located in the Ellsworth Mountains, has flat faces with an inclination of approximately 52 degrees, identical to the inclination of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Another formation, near the coast of Queen Maud Land, has internal corridors detected by ground-penetrating radar, suggesting complex underground architecture. Official expeditions are rare and extremely restricted. The 1959 Antarctic Treaty prohibits military exploration and severely limits civilian activities in certain areas. But between 2015 and 2016, something extraordinary happened. A series of world leaders visited Antarctica in unusual succession. Secretary of State John Kerry, Patriarch Kirill of the Russian Orthodox Church, astronaut Buzz Aldrin, who was hastily evacuated due to a medical emergency, and then tweeted a cryptic message about absolute evil before deleting it. Why did so many powerful figures visit the most inaccessible continent on the planet in such a short interval? What did they see? Now we enter the territory of forbidden text. The Book of Enoch, removed from the biblical canon but preserved by the Ethiopian Church, tells the story of the Watchers, 200 rebellious angels who descended to Mount Hermon and took human women as wives. From this union were born the Nephilim, giants who corrupted the earth with forbidden knowledge and violence. As punishment, God ordered the Watchers to be imprisoned, but not in traditional hell. The text is specific. They were chained in the depths of the earth, at the ends of the world, in a prison of darkness and ice until the day of final judgment. Enoch describes being taken by angels to a place of eternal winter, where the sky is dark and the earth is covered with eternal ice. A place where no vegetation grows. A place of cosmic punishment. For millennia, theologians have interpreted this as a metaphor. But what if it were geographical? What if the ends of the earth were literally Antarctica, the most isolated, coldest, most inaccessible continent on the planet? The text of Enoch also mentions that these beings taught humanity metallurgy, astronomy, magic, and forbidden arts. Knowledge that would allow continents to be mapped with impossible precision. Knowledge that would build pyramids aligned with constellations. Knowledge that would leave indelible marks on stone and ice. The latest climate models, including data from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, project that the melting of the West Antarctic ice sheet will reach a critical tipping point between 2025 and 2027. When this happens, regions that have remained frozen since the end of the last ice age will be exposed for the first time in 12,000 years. What will these regions reveal? Structures already detected by radar will become visible to the naked eye. The Wilkes Land anomaly, if it is indeed an artificial structure, will become directly accessible. And if the Enoch texts have a literal basis, what happens when the Watcher's ice prison begins to melt? There are unconfirmed reports of military installations being expanded in Antarctica, of exclusion zones being implemented in areas where anomalies have been detected, of scientific expeditions being cancelled without explanation. The veil of secrecy over the continent has never been thicker. Consider this sequence of events. A map from 1513 shows a continent that should not have been known, drawn as it was 12,000 years ago. Beneath that same continent, we find a massive gravitational anomaly made of metal, generating heat. Pyramidal structures emerge from the ice in perfect geometric alignments. World leaders visit the site in secret, and an ancient text describes this very place as a prison for beings who corrupted humanity with forbidden knowledge. Is it a coincidence? Or are we witnessing the revelation of something that has been deliberately hidden under ice and silence? If Antarctica was habitable 12,000 years ago, if pre-flood civilizations mapped its coasts, if monumental structures lie beneath the ice, then the history of humanity does not begin in Mesopotamia. It begins much earlier, on a continent now forbidden. And if something was imprisoned there, if entities were frozen in cosmic punishment, what happens when the ice melts? What awakens? Antarctica is not just ice. It is frozen memory. It is preserved evidence of an era that official history has erased. Every square kilometer of ice that melts is a page being revealed in a book we have not been allowed to read. The pyramids are there. The metallic anomaly is there. The ancient maps were right. And the forbidden texts may have been more accurate than we admit. It's 2025. The ice is melting. And something beneath that white continent is waiting. The question is no longer whether there is something buried in Antarctica. The question is, are we ready for what will emerge? If this has changed your perspective, leave your like and subscribe for more truths they don't want you to know.